Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what so proudly we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, from sea to shining sea.
Sandberg Mirage is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to or die. I constantly fight for you. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, swimming to me. them shout, counter marching all about, and those his songs go rolling along. For it's high, high here in the field artillery. Count out their numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you will always know that those his songs go rolling along.
Thank you, voice of God. He does have a name, Shane. Thank you, Shane. At this time, I'd like to invite Rod Risley to say a few remarks.
Good evening. It is my pleasure and it is my honor to open the 43rd Annual ACCT Leadership Conference. Before we officially begin this meeting, however, I have a very special presentation to make. This past April, the Association of Community College Trustees received one of Phi Theta Kappa's most prestigious awards, the Alliance for Educational Excellence Award. Phi Theta Kappa presented the award to ACCT Chair Robert Arenga this past April in front of 4,000 students, chapter advisors, and college presidents attending Phi Theta Kappa's 93rd Annual Convention in Nashville, Tennessee. And now I am honored to present it to you, ACCT's membership. ACCT has engaged community college trustees in discussing and developing strategies regarding their role and their institution's role in effectively measuring student success. For these outstanding efforts, given to improve student success and college completion, Phi Theta Kappa expresses profound appreciation to ACCT for its commitment to aid all community college students in reaching their dreams for a better life by helping them complete what they start. All of the trustees in this room, Trustee Arenga, President Noah Brown, and your exceptional ACCT staff are making truly extraordinary advances in the governance of community colleges across this country, which benefits every community college student. It is with the greatest pleasure that Phi Theta Kappa presents the Alliance for Educational Excellence Award to your chair, Roberto Arenga, President Noah Brown, and now to each of you, the members of ACCT.
Oops, excuse me. Thank you, Rod, for those wonderful words and for your leadership with Phi Theta Kappa and for recognizing ACCT for the wonderful work that all our trustees do throughout the country. We are especially proud of this recognition. And again, let's give Dr. Risley a nice, big, warm ACCT welcome. Okay, I guess we're going to have a little change in the program here. What happened to Noah? Okay. All right, Noah. Good evening. Welcome. Buenas noches. Bienvenidos a todos. I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad to see that I have old faces and familiar friends with us tonight. Let me change that. Familiar faces and old friends here tonight. I always do that wrong. It has been an honor for me and a privilege to serve you as ACCT chair this year. Before we begin, please join me in thanking our Boston Bunker Hill Community College hosts who will bring greetings to you this evening. Please help me in welcoming board chair and former ACCT board member Jean-Marie Boylan and Bunker Hill Community College President Mary Fifield.
Thank you, Roberto. On behalf of the entire Bunker Hill Community College Board of Trustees, as well as the Massachusetts colleges, the City of Boston, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we are proud to host the 43rd Annual ACCT Leadership Congress. I would like to acknowledge Bunker Hill Community College President Mary Fifield, who is here this evening, and will be retiring from Bunker Hill Community College after 16 years at Bunker Hill Community College and 44 years in higher education. Thank you, Mary. Special thanks also to our Bunker Hill Community College students, Derek Hanna, who is studying music at Bunker Hill Community College, and Jeremy Cyril, who is studying hospitality, who engaged us this evening with their fine voices. Thank you very much, gentlemen. As a former member of the ACCT Board of Directors, as well as a member of the Voluntary Framework of Accountability Steering Committee, I am especially excited to see that so many trustees and presidents are here to continue the Student Success and Completion Dialogue. So please enjoy your time at the Congress, and also make time, if you can, to explore some of the beautiful city. Welcome to Boston. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean-Marie. Thanks also to our vocalists, again, from Bunker Hill Community College for helping us to get us started tonight. I'd also like to offer a few more thanks to some other organizations and individuals before we begin. As you may be aware, yesterday and today, ACCT hosted a symposium on college completion supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Gretzky Foundation. Here with us throughout the symposium and today are Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Senior Program Officer for Post-Secondary Data, Ms. Elise Miller, and Caroline Altman-Smith, Senior Program Officer for the Gretzky Foundation. Elise and Carolyn, please stand and be recognized. Okay. We also like to thank the Lumina Foundation for Education for helping to support the symposium on student success. We are extraordinarily grateful to the foundations for your support of the community college movement and look forward to the next steps in our ambitious efforts to improve completion and do everything we can to help students succeed in their endeavors. It is my pleasure to recognize a few other organizations that have made special contributions to support this week's events. A shout out goes to Pearson Higher Education for supporting the messenger bags that each of you received at registration. I know that we will be seeing these bags at board meetings, on college campuses, perhaps shopping, and other events like this for years to come. With us today is Pearson Higher Education Executive Vice President, Sandy Kirshner. Sandy, will you please stand and be recognized? And everyone, let's thank Sandy and Pearson Higher Education for their support. I would also like to give a shout out to Elucian, whose generous contribution has allowed ACCT to launch the Congress On Demand program on the ACCT website. Elucian will be producing video of the symposium and select student success-related sessions throughout the week, which we will make available online following the Congress for you and for other members of your board who may have been unable to attend this Congress. Will Jack Kramer, Sari Jones, Michael Kurtz, and anyone else from Elucian please stand and be recognized? Okay, and thank you, of course, Another big shout out. I would also like to express to all the members of our very own ACCT Corporate Council for their continuing support of the association. Everyone, please join me in thanking these organizations for their support. I am so excited. No, actually, I'm thrilled that so many of my colleagues and friends are here this evening in Boston. The next few days will be both informative and inspiring as we focus on harnessing the power of information to advance student success and the sustainability of our colleges. Now I would like to recognize your associations, fellow board members, and ask you to please stand when you hear your name. First, I would like to introduce the ACCT Executive Committee. Chair-elect of the board, Jean Turgeson from North Iowa Area Community College. ACCT Vice Chair, John W. Sanders from John A. Logan College in Illinois. ACCT Treasurer, Leroy W. Mitchell from Westchester Community College in New York. And ACCT Immediate Past Chair, Peter E. Surser from Midlands Technical College in South Carolina. Let's give them all a great round of applause. Now I ask that the full board please stand and be recognized. Thank you all for your hard work and your dedication. With a board like this, how can I go wrong? I would like to acknowledge our partners from AACC, Dr. Marie Nag. Okay, let me. AACC Chair Marie Foster Nagy, and who is President of West Virginia University at Parkersburg, and AACC President and CEO Walter Bumpus. I'd like to thank them for their support as well. We appreciate your continued partnership with ACCT to strengthen the leadership of community colleges. A meeting like this would not be possible without the support and assistance of our friends, including Bunker Hill Community College and the Massachusetts Community Colleges. Let's give our hosts another round of applause. We are all very appreciative of your support for this year's Congress. This year's Congress features a number of new initiatives and opportunities to get involved and make a difference. I hope that all of you had a chance to explore the marketplace just outside the doors of this ballroom. There you can pick up a pedometer and a water bottle, because you'll need it. You'll be doing a lot of walking. And carry it with you as you walk for student success throughout the week. Also be sure to stop by the ACCT Student Success Policy Action Agenda table to learn more about this important initiative and to pick up copies of the action agenda to bring back to your boards. It is now my pleasure to introduce ACCT President and Chief Executive Officer, Noah Brown. Noah, please come in.
Thank you, Chair Uranga. Before I make some comments, we had a nice video that we would like to show you to kind of recap the year. So if I could ask Sean and the guys in the back, let's run the video right now. Thank you.
The Association of Community College Trustees has had a banner year of national accolades, groundbreaking initiatives, new publications, and successful service to our membership. On October 11th and 12th, ACCT, with support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, hosted experts, national leaders, trustees, and presidents to formulate the ACCT Student Success Policy Action Agenda. From October 12th through the 15th of 2011, over 1,000 2,200 community college trustees, presidents, and guests from the United States and abroad gathered in Dallas, Texas for the 42nd Annual ACCT Leadership Congress. National, state, and local recognition of the contributions of community colleges to create jobs and stabilize the economy ushered in 2012.
Jackie Bray is a single mom from North Carolina who was laid off from her job as a mechanic. Then Siemens opened a gas turbine factory in Charlotte and formed a partnership with Central Piedmont Community College. The company helped the college design courses in laser and robotics training. It paid Jackie's tuition, then hired her to help operate their plant. I want every American looking for work to have the same opportunity as Jackie did. Now you need to give more community colleges the resources they need to become community career centers, places that teach people skills that businesses are looking for right now.
Over 900 trustees and presidents attended the Community College National Legislative Summit in Washington, D.C. Some of the nation's highest-profile leaders addressed the membership. ACCT's partnership with the American Association of Community Colleges was further cemented in a joint statement outlining our partnership to address the leadership pipeline for presidents and trustees. Together, the associations hosted Leadership Counts, an essential dialogue sponsored by the Kresge Foundation and attended by representatives from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Ford Foundation, the Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Texas Guaranteed Student Loan Corporation to address the impending leadership gap in higher education. The Governance Leadership Institute in New York City attracted trustees from all over the nation as a forum to further enhance their roles and responsibilities. ACCT President and CEO Noah Brown served on the AACC 21st Century Commission on the Future of Community Colleges. We congratulate AACC for taking the initiative to plan for the future. Capping off a year-long effort, ACCT hosted Governance Institutes for Student Success in Ohio and Washington State. The GISS is a partnership with the University of Texas, Austin's Community College Leadership Program, with support from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The ACCT board convened in Long Beach, California to review ACCT's accomplishments and discuss strategic goals for the coming year. The Governance Leadership Institute for New and Experienced Trustees Summer in Washington, D.C. provided another opportunity for trustees to enhance and refresh their skills. And throughout the year, ACCT kept in touch with members through publications, including Trustee Quarterly magazine and the Advisor newsletter. The association also recently released a new state-by-state report of college governing board structures and models. ACCT invites boards throughout the country to sign up and be part of the policy action agenda on student success. Be counted on behalf of student success. Last month, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation awarded ACCT a $1 million grant to continue and expand the Governance Institute for Student Success. And the Kresge Foundation awarded ACCT $400,000 to expand efforts on leadership, diversity, online trustee education, supporting the symposium series, and strategic partnership with Single Stop USA. Reflecting on the past and looking forward to the future, Roman Littlefield Publishing Group published ACCT President and CEO J. Noah Brown's book, First in the World: Community Colleges and America's Future. The first book in a New American Council on Education series of publications about community colleges. To commemorate the association's 40th anniversary, ACCT published a book featuring photos and milestones from the association's humble beginnings from 1972 to 2012. The efforts of ACCT and our membership earned the association the Phi Theta Kappa National Honor Society Alliance for Education Excellence Award for ACCT's outstanding efforts to improve student success and college completion. Congratulations to the ACCT membership and welcome to the 2012 ACCT Leadership Congress.
Wow, I'm exhausted. I don't know about you. What a year that we had. Again, I want to thank Roberto and the entire ACCT Board of Directors for their tremendous service to America's community colleges. And I, of course, want to welcome all of you to our 43rd Annual Leadership Congress here in Boston. I also want to add my shout out and appreciation to Bunker Hill Community College and the other colleges here in the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts for all their support and hospitality. And thanks also to the many philanthropic and corporate partners that support ACCT and our commitment to effective governance and student success every day. But I especially want to thank each of you here in the audience and your peers around the nation for leading what I believe is the most important educational sector the world has ever known. Community colleges have emerged from the shadows to assume their rightful place in the educational and economic landscape. Our institutions have never been more important in the history of our republic. And thanks to the work that everyone in this room is doing, our colleges have never been more highly regarded. As you may know, I recently finished writing a book called First in the World, the kickoff title to a new American Council on Education series about community colleges. First in the World is a narrative, a story, if you like, about community colleges and their historic role in the building of America's economic and social fabric. It's a story that must be told over and over and over again. And why is that? We face many challenges here in the United States, but none more important than the current state of educational attainment. At one time, the United States of America was first in the world relative to the proportion of 25 to 34-year-olds who hold college degrees. Today, we have fallen to 16th in the world. And unless we make major changes, we likely will fall even farther. This is simply unacceptable. That's where the new imperative around student success and completion comes in, because community colleges serve the majority of students in higher education and provide an on-ramp for the greatest diversity of individuals to the higher education superhighway. Our institutions are now the most critical sector to restoring our economy and assuring our people achieve the American dream. American community colleges were first in the world. This country invented the concept, and we intentionally built the most dynamic and innovative educational sector ever devised. The rest of the world is now working to emulate the American community college system because they understand the nexus between educational attainment and economic prowess. So here we are, the leadership of America's community colleges, here in the city and region that began the American Revolution. Over the next few days, I encourage you to immerse yourselves in the tremendous educational and networking resources available through this Congress. Recommit to student success and completion, because together we can work to restore America's economy and educational quality and attainment rates and be first in the world once again. Thank you for your support, your commitment, and passion to sustain and empower our community college system. Know that your association, ACCT, stands beside you and is working to support your efforts in this regard. So please enjoy this Congress, and God bless you for the work that you do every day. Thank you.
Before I continue the program, can Daryl McAfee please go to the back of the room? I think you have a message for you waiting there. We will now present the Regional Trustee Leadership Awards. Information on all our award winners is included in your awards program. These awardees are the sole nominees from each of the 5 regions from the 2012 for the 5 regions for the 2012 M. Dale Ensign Trustee Leadership Award that will be announced for the first time on Friday evening at the annual awards gala. Our first award goes to the Central Region's David Harvey from Danville Area Community College in Illinois. He will be escorted to the stage by ACCT Central Region Chair Jeffrey A. May from Juliet Junior College. Will Trustee Harvey come forward, please?
If I can indulge you just for a moment, would you please keep in your thoughts and prayers my mentor, my encourager, my president at Danville Area Community College, Vicki Miller. She was going to be here today, had a very serious health condition on Friday, had emergency surgery on Saturday, and is in intensive care back home. So please keep her in your thoughts. I greatly appreciate being honored as the Central Region Trustee Leadership Award recipient. I'm both honored and humbled. However, this is merely an award. I cherish most my opportunity to serve as a trustee at the great institution, Danville Area Community College, where I earned my associate degree immediately after high school in 1972. I was able to transfer and get my bachelor's degree from Illinois State University in 4 years, even though my father was totally disabled while I was in college. Since I was able to work while in college, I graduated with no student debt and no financial help from my parents. The pioneers at DACC and the entire community college movement were providing higher education opportunities for many students like me 40 years ago. As I reap the benefits from those founding leaders, it is our task as leaders today to make sure that the system is still vibrant for future generations. Funding education has many problems throughout the U.S., but community colleges are not a part of the problem. Community colleges are a part of the solution. Thank you very much for this prestigious award.
Congratulations, David. Our next award goes to the Northeast Region's Kathleen Pesley from City University of New York. Trustee Pesley is being escorted by Northeast Regional Chair Bakari Lee from Hudson County College in New Jersey. Kathleen and Bakari, please join me on the podium.
Thank you, Chairman Uranga, President Brown, the Executive Committee, board members, fellow trustees, and presidents. I'm truly humbled for you selecting me as one of the recipients for this prestigious award. As a graduate of a community college of the City University of New York, I know full well the role that a community college plays as a gateway to enhance career skills and the potential for higher educational opportunities. We as trustees represent a very diverse constituency who seek the American dream as we help them to assimilate and become productive citizens in our own communities. We have an obligation to ensure that our local and state legislators, as well as Capitol Hill, understands our mission to promote the next generation of proud Americans without limiting their goals. We must continue to confront the many fiscal, political, and social obstacles that can defray from our mission to educate and encourage our students to succeed at their very own level. I hope I live up to your expectations. Again, thank you for this honor.
Congratulations, Kathleen. The next award goes to the Pacific Region's Carol Landa McVicker from the community colleges of Spokane and Washington. Trustee Landa McVicker is being escorted by Pacific Region Chair Anita Greer of City College of San Francisco in California. Carol and Anita, please come to the podium.
I want to thank my board for nominating me for this recognition, and thanks to ACCT for selecting me to represent all the trustees of the Pacific region. Serving as a trustee for the community colleges of Spokane and being active in the community and technical college system in Washington State for the past 12 years has not only been an honor, but also life-changing for me. When I was first appointed to be a trustee, I was told that the community colleges were the best kept secret in town. During my tenure, I have seen community colleges grow from the best kept secret to where we are today, receiving national attention for the key role we play in workforce development and as innovators in higher education and student success. As trustees, we advocate on behalf of our students so that they can succeed in achieving their goals, be it GED, certificates, degrees of transfer, and we celebrate as they fulfill their dreams and better their lives for themselves, their families, and our communities. We have come a long way, but there's more work to be done to assure that our institutions remain accessible and affordable for our students, flexible in meeting the needs of our communities, and innovative in assuring student success. I believe there's no greater challenge, no greater responsibility, and no greater honor than serving as a trustee. And for having had the opportunity to be a part of this mission, I am truly grateful. Thank you again for this recognition. Congratulations to all the nominees and winners of this year's award. And finally, I accept this award on behalf of all the trustees, all of you who give unselfishly of your time and talent to better the lives of others. Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol. The Southern Region's award recipient is David Miller from Northern Virginia Community College. Trustee Miller is being escorted by Southern Region Chair Dave Telley from Palm Beach State College in Florida. Karen and Dave, please come to the stage.
I want to thank the ACCT for this award, but more importantly, I want to thank you. As a veteran and as a father of two special needs children, I'm very much aware of the things that you do on a daily basis to serve these two underserved populations. So again, thank you very much.
So I know that was a nice picture. We're all about the same size. Our final awardee is from the Western region, Gary Gerwitz from South Texas College. Trustee Gerwitz is being escorted by Western Regional Chair Colton Crane from Central Wyoming College. Gary and Colton, please come forward.
Thank you very much for this recognition. Thanks to the nominators, and thank you to the committee that selected me. It's been a great pleasure, a lot of fun for 19 years watching South Texas College start with nothing, grow to 30,000 students on 5 campuses, and become an integral part of the economy of 2 South Texas counties. excuse me, that are among the poorest in the country. I'm the product and not the cause of a great team at South Texas College. We've got a great president, great faculty, staff, students, and a great board. And I particularly appreciate the fact that most of the board is here tonight to share this award with me. So on behalf of the board and the community, South Texas College, I thank you for this. Good night.
Well, congratulations, David. Let's give another round of applause to all our awardees. I now ask ACCT Chair-elect Jean Torgerson to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Roberto, and welcome everyone. And what a great way to start off our conference with students singing for us. Isn't that why we're all here? It is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Sterling Spearin, the president and CEO of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. The W.K. Kellogg Foundation in Battle Creek, Michigan, is one of the largest private foundations in the United States. Established in 1930 by breakfast cereal pioneer Will Keith Kellogg, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation seeks to partner with families and communities working to create the conditions that propel vulnerable children to realize their full potential in school, work, and life. Since he assumed his role in 2006, Sterling has led the organization through a comprehensive review, emphasizing the promotion of racial equality and civic and community engagement. Before joining the Kellogg Foundation, Sterling was president of Peninsula Community Foundation, headquartered in Silicon Valley. Spearin began his career as 7th and 8th grade English teacher in Cleveland, Ohio. Thank you. I encourage you to read more about Sterling's impressive accomplishments in the Congress program, but for now, please join me in welcoming Sterling Spearin.
Starts with one big question. As a society, how are we doing? Consider this answer. A society is only as strong as its most vulnerable members. And who are the most vulnerable members of our society? Children, 31 million of them who are growing up in poverty in the United States alone, and hundreds of millions of children around the world. They live in cities, they live on farms, they live in the suburbs. And they're vulnerable because they're surrounded by the kinds of conditions that create obstacles, like racism, poverty, and fractured families. The statistics are stark for these children in health, education, and nutrition, among other measures. It would be easy to see vulnerable children as an unsolved problem. But what if we saw vulnerable children as potential, growth, possibility, resilience, the key to a strong society? One where thriving children are the very foundation of strong families. Because we know that strong families form strong, stable communities. And it takes strong communities to make the larger changes we need in education, our food and health systems, and our economy. The potential for positive change is everywhere. We see it in the U.S. and around the world. And we're working hard to tap that potential, especially in the places where the W.K. Kellogg Foundation prioritizes its work. In Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, and New Orleans. In Mexico, in the highlands of Chiapas and the inner lands of the Yucatan Peninsula. And in Haiti, because we believe that strong communities can change the world. At the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, we know the future is born every day.
Good evening. Thank you, Jean, for that introduction, and thank you, Noah, Roberto, and Narcissa for making my visit here so enjoyable. I also want to acknowledge all the awardees for their tremendous service, as well as all the trustees in the room for all the leadership and stewardship you do on behalf of your community colleges. I have been a great recipient and beneficiary of community college leadership. When I was CEO at the Peninsula Community Foundation in Silicon Valley, I had a community college president and vice president on my board of directors, Bernadine Fong and Olivia Martinez. And the tagline for this year's conference, Partnerships, Innovation, and Evidence, that would be PIE, PIE. I wish partnerships and innovation and evidence was as easy as pie, but I know that you all sit at a critical point in our communities. And I had the chance with one other community foundation leader to spend a year in a leadership program, and then was called one day by the United States Department of Education that said they were vetting the nominee to be Undersecretary of Education with Secretary Duncan, and that was my good friend Martha Cantor, who was Chancellor of the Foothill De Anza Community College District. So it's great to have a former community college president as Undersecretary of Education. I was just out in Silicon Valley for work last week, and I heard a story about a young man from Kentucky who went off to the big city and made a lot of money, and he was always trying to impress his mother with lavish gifts. And he went on a business trip, and he put in very elaborate transport 2 exotic birds. And when he got back from his trip, he called up his mom and he said, "So, Mom, how did you like those birds?" And she said, "They was good." He said, "Mom, I can't believe you ate those birds. They cost me $5,000. They sang opera. They spoke 5 languages." And she said, "They should have said something." So talent wasted. I think, resonating with Noah's remarks, I believe we are living at one of the most critical times our nation has ever faced. We may very well soon be facing what American historians call a constitutional moment. Those are rare moments in our history, beginning with the Revolution, followed by the Constitutional Convention, later with our Civil War, and most recently with the Depression and the ensuing New Deal. But how we, the people, manage to reinvent and renew our democratic systems, how we are able to define new ways to reach common ground and define the common good and come to public judgment, depends largely on the investments we make in the people and the institutions that are the human capital that is the bedrock of our democracy. I took special meaning when Derek finished America the Beautiful with the words, "and brotherhood from sea to shining sea." I'm not sure that's what people experience today in the United States, but that's certainly what we need for the days ahead. The student success in your colleges has a lot more to do than just their individual success, but their role in our economy and in our democratic system going forward. So tonight, I did want to share some remarks and reflect a little bit on the history of the Kellogg Foundation's relationship to the community college movement, and then come into the present. I've got a real stake in the present. I have a 20-year-old son who's a full-time student at Cabrillo College in Santa Cruz, California. So when I joined the W.K. Kellogg Foundation in 2006, I soon realized I had inherited quite a legacy with community college. Indeed, the significant growth of the community college movement and the role played by the American Association of Community Colleges are so intertwined with the association's extraordinary relationship with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation that it's a relationship that stretches back more than half a century to 1958. But to appreciate how this relationship was formed, you'd have to know a little bit more about our founder, Will Keith Kellogg. You have to understand that Mr. Kellogg dropped out of school in the 5th grade. He was judged to be dim-witted, not because of his IQ, but because he was nearsighted and couldn't see the blackboard. He was born in 1860, so there were no modern technologies other than chalk and the blackboard. And in fact, he was not diagnosed being nearsighted until he was 20 years old. Later in life, and despite his extraordinary accomplishments that overcame so many obstacles in his life, he reflected on how it mattered that children receive the help they need at the time it matters most. He wrote around 1930 when he started our foundation, he wrote, "All my life I have seen children, some very near and dear to me, who suffered misfortunes that could have been either cured or at least greatly helped by correct attention at the time it most counted. This should be the heritage of every child in the world." And it left a lifelong impression on him to care about the forgotten child, whether that child was growing up in a rural community or in poverty, or who had physical disabilities, or who faced racial discrimination. Mr. Kellogg began to develop his personal philanthropy in the 1920s. In fact, President Hoover invited Will Keith Kellogg to come to the White House and help him stage the White House Conference on Children that happened in 1929 and 1930. In 1930, he established the foundation that bears his name, and he donated almost his entire fortune of his shares in the Kellogg Company that he founded in 1906 to the trust that would support the foundation to this day. Now, I'd like to tell my colleagues, may you be blessed with a founder whose heart is pure, whose intent is clear, and whose hands are off. He wrote a note to the board and trustees at the beginning of the foundation, and this is what it said. "I don't want to restrict you in any way," he told the new staff. "Use the money as you please so long as it promotes the health, happiness, and well-being of children." And he watched the foundation in the early years, didn't attend many meetings, rarely said anything. But in 1935, he wrote a letter which we reread every year at our trustees' annual retreat. And this is what he said. "I'm glad that the educational approach has been emphasized. Relief, raiment, and shelter are necessary for destitute children, but the greatest good for the greatest number can come only through the education of the child. The parent, the teacher, the family physician, the dentists, and the community in general. Education offers the greatest opportunity for really improving one generation over another." Well, at the end of the first decade, the foundation decided to shift its focus to a grant-making style of philanthropy and to broaden its reach beyond the rural western counties of Michigan. Its emphasis was on supporting education from early childhood throughout life, and for the purpose of creating careers and institutions that would promote civic engagement and supporting educational institutions that could make that happen. I'm going to grab this unopened bottle of water here to feel like one of those comedians that's pacing back on the front and drinking water. As the foundation's efforts were maturing and interest in creating sustainable models increased, the trustees grew increasingly focused on expanding educational opportunities beyond high school at low cost for people desiring to obtain job skills and credentials or to complete the first 2 years towards a bachelor's degree within their own communities. Remember, this is in the 1940s. In the late 1950s, the foundation was aware of the growing concept of people's colleges and had assisted the Battle Creek school system in launching a community college when it could not gain countywide support. In the late 1950s, the Kellogg Foundation's Director of Nursing Programs was working with national professional nursing groups, and I was sharing the story with Jean earlier today, to develop associate degree nursing programs. Of course, the goal was to move nursing programs out of hospital-based programs to academic settings in community colleges. So in conjunction with the planning meeting with the American Association of Junior Colleges, which was the predecessor to the ACC, she suggested the association management might want to discuss the needs that they had with the foundation. Shortly thereafter, the executive director of the AJC and a colleague were traveling by train through the area and on impulse stopped by the Kellogg Foundation headquarters in Battle Creek, hoping to meet with Emory Morris, the foundation president, who happened to be trained as a dentist. An hour later, President Morris welcomed the visitors to his office. The collaboration that was born out of that fortuitous event has had a profound impact on the development of community colleges and has appreciably furthered the goals of the Kellogg Foundation. The Kellogg Foundation and community colleges have worked together for more than half a century to enhance the role of community colleges locally and nationally Through this long collaboration, community colleges have become established as key players in helping people from all walks of life achieve their goals of higher education. Let me give you just a few highlights from our databases of the financial and programmatic investments the Kellogg Foundation has made in community colleges. When I look back over these 54 years, there are more than $110 million of grants to projects in community colleges or in projects working with community colleges in community. And it's a very interesting trajectory. In the first decade, when the movement's being started from 1958 to 1969, we made just 20 grants, but they totaled $5 million in 1960s dollars. The next year, from 20 grants, we made 127 grants. In the next decade, that's 70 to 79, and the total went up to $8 million. And then in the 1980s, the total went up to $11 million, and then in the 1990s, we made 136 grants totaling $36 million. In the last 12 years, we've made $15 million of grants, and that's a total of more than $76 million. Now, where have these grants been targeted? I was interested. Thank you. Our database tracks more than 25 different categories of grants, and not surprising, given the breadth of your institutions, these grants range from experiential learning to early childhood education, to experts in residence, to minority students, to nursing, to dentistry, and many more. But the largest categories fell into 4 major buckets. The largest group of grants, totaling over $12 million, went to supporting leadership. And that has been the middle name of the Kellogg Foundation ever since we got started, because Mr. Kellogg said we should invest in people, and we should invest in leaders who change the world. The next category you'll be happy to hear was $10 million, and it was for facilities and construction. I've been in foundation work for some time now, and I'm always surprised when foundations publish in their criteria or annual reports that we don't fund buildings. And I have to keep telling trustees and staff that sometimes a building is absolutely the best thing you can do. It's part of the whole package. Interesting, the third category, you'll also be surprised, was technology, because, of course, in the last 50 years, the challenge of community colleges to keep up and stay ahead of the technological innovations have always been. And I must tell you, working in Silicon Valley for 20 years, I sat down with 16 executive directors of our local nonprofits one day, and I said, if we were to give you $100,000 each to spend any way you want on your organizations, and these are small community-based organizations to large boys and girls clubs, I said, how would you spend the money? And several of them turned to me and said, we'd spend it on computers. This was some time ago. I'll date myself. They said, we have 386 computers. We don't have any voicemail. And none of our donors want to fund computers. Now, I'm in Silicon Valley, and nobody wants to fund computers. So I said, well, of course, you need to spend this money, whatever it will take to build your capacity. One of the groups used it for our voicemail system and found a way to do broadcasting voicemail. She said, my board has never felt more engaged now that we have a voicemail system. We didn't fund her to do board engagement and governance, but that's what it ended up doing. The final category, which again you may not be surprised, was in community engagement and community partnerships. And as Jean said in my introduction, our board really believes that the only way for long-term changes in our communities is through community engagement and civic engagement, that the only kind of change that lasts is when people in community are involved in that and it becomes part of their aspirations, not somebody outside that just happens to be funding it. So from 1930, our 2 core areas were health and education. Since I've come, we've also added a third leg to that stool, and it's family economic security. Because we believe, first, that a child's education is critical to their lifelong success. And secondly, that their health is critical to their ability to learn. And third, that their family's economic situation is critical both to their health and their ability to learn. So we've said with those 3 elements, our goal has been to first not operate like a university that has separate departments, but always when we show up in a community to bring all 3 of those elements, education, food, health, and well-being, and family economic security, to work in an integrated manner. And you saw on the short video, we've committed about half of our annual grant making to the 3 states of Michigan, New Mexico, and Mississippi, and the city of New Orleans. But the other half of our grant making, we can roam the country looking for best practices. And I have a few examples of our work with your community colleges now in Texas and in Florida, as well as in our priority places. So with that, as you heard, we're also very committed to promoting racial equity and dismantling the history of structural racism that continues to haunt many of our students and their families. And as I said, promote civic engagement. So we're excited about the new strategic framework. It builds on our core competencies and it brings more focus to how we work in an integrated manner. The challenge now, of course, is to find partners out there in the world that also want to work that way. And I must tell you that community colleges, because of the breadth and depth of all the things you do, have been some of our best partners. We can talk about job training, we can talk about training in early childhood, we can talk about just about anything, and our community colleges probably have programs in that area, or in an entrepreneurial way are prepared to create a program like that if we find there's mutual need. So let me talk about a few examples in the present day of our work with the community college system and with a few individual community colleges. Of course, we have a new grant, a 3-year, $500,000 grant, and again, I am tickled that my colleagues at Kresge and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, at Lumina, at Annie E. Casey, there are a lot of us who find ourselves in partnership supporting community college projects, and of course, you can't pick up the paper today in the United States and not read about the jobs issue and the skills issue. And do we have a skills gap, a jobs gap? And community colleges, I think, are some of the most agile and creative partners that are doing that in local partnerships. But this first grant to the American Association of Community Colleges is to build a national initiative looking at all these industry partnerships that many of you are doing. So at the high level, we're doing that. We're also supporting something called the National Skills Coalition and the Workforce Alliance, which is a coalition of business, labor, community colleges, government, that again is looking to inform public policy. I used to serve on the Private Industry Council in San Mateo County in California, and I know what it's been like to try to forge industry-employer partnerships that are not just one sector specific or timed for the jobs of tomorrow, but are really building the skills of our students, to be lifelong careers and to be on career paths and not just sector specific, or if sector specific, to have a long trajectory. So whether it's in healthcare, in technology, we are looking at whatever makes sense in that region, and we work all over the country. Now, for some specific examples, let me tell you about the Houston Community College. There, it started with a community organization called the Metropolitan Organization, which is Houston's affiliate of the Industrial Areas Foundation, which was a tried and true community organizing nonprofit that's been around for decades. And it's interesting to see community organizers now focused on jobs and skill development. So the Metropolitan Organization brought a project called Capital Idea, a workforce development program, and they got the governor of Texas and the Houston Endowment, the United Way of Houston, and the Texas Workforce Commission to all sit down at the table and with the community college develop this partnership. Key factors of the program include lots of guidance and support for participants. All participants are enrolled in intense developmental academies to ensure their readiness for academic classes. Secondly, they're ensuring career-driven education, as I said earlier, that's not focused on just the next job, but a career of jobs. Third, they're maintaining the community college partnership. So the community college takes responsibility for all aspects of enrollment, academic counseling, development education, tutorials, and career consulting. And finally, the key thing in so many of your programs is providing support services. So students are provided case management, access to childcare, transportation assistance, emergency financial assistance, and counseling to help them manage both their personal lives so they can stay on track in an education. It's interesting that the key attributes of these programs are intensity, urgency, feedback, discipline, and responsibility. Now, many of these characteristics are also present in a project we're supporting in Florida with the Hillsborough Community College. And they're focused on the local automotive industry, the local workforce alliance, and with local community-based organizations and the private sector, the Hillsborough Community College is building a similar program. But it's customized to that, as all of you are. Aspects of that program, some of the innovations there are, one, employing a cohort model of instruction that enables project participants to pursue their education with the same classmates over the entire period of the training program. They're using alternative training schedules, whether it's night classes, weekends, or hybrid formats. We're hearing a lot about blended learning. They're enhancing the connection with the Hillsborough Community College's employer partners in the training program. And they're strengthening the students' transition into the career, and again, integrated support, child care support, career planning, and job placement. Now, these programs, again, aren't just local phenomena. They're creating systemic change, and they're really propelling the students forward. Now, the final local example I want to give you, well, wait, there was one more. Guess not. It's coming later, is in the Central New Mexico. Central New Mexico Community College, largest higher education institution in the state, educating 30,000 students, more than the University of New Mexico or New Mexico State. There, with the majority of the students from ethnic minorities, the Central New Mexico Community College is really working on a culture change where every department at the college is committed to the student's success. And so rather than referring a student to one department to give student support, the college has said, we need centers for working families. I know so many of your students are working parents, and I'm going to talk about that at the end of my remarks, about what we're doing to help the children of your students. Because just the way Head Start was designed to be a complete program and not just a child care program, it was meant to be a job training program for parents. And just like your programs are focused on students who are parents, we're looking for programs that take a two-generation strategy. And every time a parent develops their skills, they're developing work skills. It's interesting, I don't know when they ever started calling these skills soft skills. It seems to me the soft skills are the most fundamental skills one can develop for lifelong success. If you have soft skills, if you have a curiosity about learning, if you know how to build relationships and work in a team, you can learn a lot of hard skills. Learning hard skills isn't that hard if you have soft skills. So your students stand to both become better and great parents as they become more employable and more mobile in their lifelong careers. So we're excited to be working with Central New Mexico College. The last one is an initiative to actually transform adult basic education in the United States. This is an initiative that we're working with 5 states, and there are more states coming online. Campaigns are started up in 10 states. But just 2 weeks ago, and this is talking about partnerships and innovation, the evidence for this project is 2 weeks ago, a $14.7 million Trade Adjustment Act grant was made to Jobs for the Future to support this project, especially with our partners in Louisiana and Mississippi. So they targeted community colleges in Louisiana and also in Mississippi, which is also one of our states. So you are able to draw down significant dollars when you give the credibility and the evidence to the federal government that these programs are really cutting edge. Well, I hope you can appreciate how important the Kellogg Foundation believes community colleges are and critical areas of skill development and career pathways for your graduates. But as I said, I want to shine a light on another aspect of your work, and that is on the children of your students. Now, we're among a small but growing group of foundations that have embraced a prenatal to 3rd grade age frame in which to target all of our investments, whether it's in food, health, and well-being, education and learning, or family economic security. But that target is to, as I said, a 2-generation strategy to the parents and the children in that age range. When it comes to the growing concern about education reform in our country, of course, much of the discussion we hear is about the K-12 system. We don't hear a lot of discussion about community college, college going, and college completion, and we don't hear much about early childhood. But we believe that when we really imagine education, we come to the understanding that the well springs of lifelong success really lie in the world that we shape and that is inhabited by infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. I know that if I think of how many students you have who have children just between the ages of 0 and 5 or in the early grades of elementary school, It must be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of children who are the children of your students. Now, we know, as Ron Lally at West Ed and others have told us, that much of what gets in the way of learning in elementary school, in middle school, in high school, and why so many of your students arrive needing remediation has to do with lessons missed, skills undeveloped, and experiences that young brains had in the very first years of life. I know your professors of early childhood education know that there is a common core curriculum for infants and toddlers. We're just now bringing it into our K-12 system. But there's no question that infants and toddlers, the experiences they have shape their perceptions, and their perceptions shape their expectations. Jack Shonkoff at the Center for the Developing Child at Harvard and Patricia Kuhl at the University of Washington have really helped a lot of the people in ed reform go deeper and understand what's going on in the infant brain. Scientifically, it's fascinating, but it's more than that. Practically, as Ellen Galinsky has written, there's a mind in the making in infants and toddlers. And as David Brooks, the New York Times columnist and author of his recent book, The Social Animal, Brooks has helped explain that beyond the development of the cognitive brain is the even more important development of the unconscious brain. And Brooks observes, based on his study of recent psychology, which the unconscious in all of us is powerfully and innately gregarious. And that explains why very young children are driven incessantly to make connections with the adults around them. So for little kids, it's not just about brain, but it's about mind, and it's about their hearts and their souls. We stand today on a threshold that no entrepreneur in the business world would hesitate for a minute to enter a market where all the research and development has been done, the proof of concept's been tested and verified, and the return on investment is virtually guaranteed to be positive with ever-rising cash flows in just 5 years. What do? Bill Gates recently said, humanity's greatest advances don't come from its discoveries, but how it applies those discoveries to reduce inequity. And we have millions and millions of children in our country that are waiting for the adults to apply that knowledge so that their potential can be unleashed, so that they show up at your campuses not just ready to learn, but voracious, experienced learners that are really going to take advantage of the things you're prepared to offer them. We know that third grade math is highly predictive of high school graduation. We know the quality of care that a 42-month-old gets is predictive. We even know, by looking at the attachment of a 1-year-old to the adults around them, the likelihood of their success. So that's why the Kellogg Foundation will continue to increase its investments in a 2-generation strategy with anybody in the local community that wants to take this early childhood challenge on. Community colleges in their early childhood programs, in their centers for working families, in their community partnerships, are really in a unique position to persistently and comprehensively apply what we know about early childhood. Now, I know in this country, dramatically improving the achievement of kids in our K-12 system is seen as essential. And as we heard earlier, the United States is not first in the world anymore, as Noah's book says, but we should be, we could be, and we can be. But we will never achieve that until we have an early childhood revolution. And I think community colleges are in a unique and powerful position to help us foment that revolution. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for your commitment to transforming education and learning and training in our country. And together we can again be first in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sterling, for that wonderful presentation. And I know that it opened up a lot of minds, a lot of thoughts about where we're at, not only educationally, but certainly in what we're talking about in civic engagement and early childhood development, two very important topics. If anyone didn't get that, I know they're probably thinking about calling you and writing you a letter. And we certainly look forward here at ACCT to our partnerships with the Kellogg Foundation in the future. Let's give Sterling another applause. Okay, tomorrow's schedule starts bright and early. For any first-time attendees and new trustees who are here with us, I strongly encourage you to attend the 8 o'clock welcome session in Salon B of the Sheraton Back Bay Ballroom. This session will make sure you get most out of the 2012 Congress. About 400 of you brought guests to this year's meeting. Please make sure your guests attend our special session for spouses and guests in the Sheraton's Fairfax room at 9:15 tomorrow morning. This session was especially designed, or is especially designed, to make sure your family and friends have a meaningful and exciting experience while in Boston. And finally, in keeping with this year's sub-theme of Walking for Student Success, make sure to walk back here to the Convention Center at 11:15 tomorrow morning to experience our new marketplace, where you can learn more about what Boston and ACCT have to offer. If you didn't have a chance to pick up your Walk for Success water bottle and pedometer, which I have right here, let's see, I erased it. Wow, okay. Well, let's see if it works. Hey, 10 feet. All right. It works backwards too, so feel free if you walk backwards. And let's see, okay. And before we adjourn, just one final reminder. As you enjoy your stay in Boston, please remember to remove your name badges for your own security while away from the hotel and convention center areas. Thank you for joining us this evening. I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. This session is adjourned.